guys, happy Wednesday. We are doing another math lesson today called Karen's Garden, and we're going to be talking again about using our tenths place and our hundredths place. So it says on your worksheet, looks like this. We are making Karen, she's planting a garden, and it's a 10 by 10 garden. She has planted peas in 25 hundredths of the garden. She has planted tomatoes in 3/10 of the garden. She has planted strawberries in 2/10 of the garden. And she has planted watermelons in 1/10 of the garden. How much of Karen's garden is planted with vegetables? So what you have here for the vegetables, we're looking at our peas and our tomatoes. So for peas, it is 25 hundredths, which is in their correlation in your fraction form, 25 hundredths. Make sense? Fabulous. Remember, because that 5 ends in your hundredths place, is therefore going to be 25 hundredths, just like I have written here. Perfect. Okay, then for our tomatoes, we have tomatoes 3/10. But you don't want to have this in tenths because up here we're working with hundredths. So therefore our 3/10 is equivalent to 30 hundredths. Does that make sense to everyone? So we have 25 hundredths and 30 hundredths. And we want to know how many total how much area the vegetables are adding up together. So we're going to add our peas. This is going to be for part 1. Our peas, which were 25 hundredths, plus our tomatoes, which was 30 hundredths. Does that make sense to everybody? Should look like this. And you, my 4th graders, my smart 4th graders, can add this up on your own and then also put it in decimal form, okay? And everyone can do that. Yes, Miss Hadley? All right, now look at part 2. This is where we're talking about our strawberries and our watermelon. All right, strawberries, we have decimal 2. We don't say decimal 2, we say 2/10. Looks like this. Pause the video and write this down for part 2. All right, then for watermelon, we have 1/10. Looks like this. Pause the video and write this down for part 2. All right, then, but I want you to know how much total fruit together. So you're going to add up your strawberries and your watermelon. So we're going to add 2/10 plus 1/10. Just like this. Write that down and solve it. Then write it also as a decimal for part 2. Please. Thank you. Okay? Now, what I want you to do next is to add up what you got for part 1, which you got that on your own, and then what you got for part 2. Now, you're going to say, Miss Hadley, they have different denominators. Well, if anything, say it was 3/10, looks like this. You can also write it over 100. 3/10 would be equivalent to 30 hundredths. Okay? So you're going to add your fruits and your vegetables together. Does that make sense to everybody? That's for part 3. Yes, ma'am? Fabulous. All right? Make sure you take a picture of that and submit it so I know that you did it. Thanks, guys. See you tomorrow.